Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the developer advocate for the Filecoin virtual machine team. You must have heard FVM everywhere around the conference. So help me out so I can kind of adjust the content that you kind of want to learn about today. How many of you know what FVM is? Hands up. How many of you know how it works? Hands up. Awesome. OK, so now we know what to cover today. Great. So today we'll run through really quickly around the introduction. I don't think I need to spend too much time on that, since a lot of you know what FVM does, as in what it is. I'll talk a little bit how the FVM works, and I think that might be a little bit helpful for you to take away today. And then we'll go into the roadmap on what you can expect. I'll do a quick demo because some really interesting developments have happened. Our engineering team has been working non-stop for the past few weeks. It's been insane, but we're glad we have something to show. So I'll show you a really quick demo there, and then we'll get into some use case ideas. And I have underlined ideas because FVM can be used in many different situations in Web3. We do need a lot more ideation and a lot more fleshing out of use cases. So we do encourage you to enter that conversation with us. But I will give some ideas that I've collected from different parts of the organization across PL. And then, yeah, to get your mind going. So yes, just a quick recap for those who might not know and they want to raise their hand. FVM delivers on-chain programmability to the Filecoin network. I think what's really different here, you can think about the impact that it potentially could have, the same way that EVM smart contracts brought to the Ethereum ecosystem previously. And the big differentiator here is that now you can compute over state. And over, as well, one of the largest data networks data storage networks today in Web3. So I think this model really clarifies it really clearly. You have the L0, which is where a lot of the data is stored. To clarify, the FVM does not compute over your data. It computes over state. And so it computes over the metadata of your data. We have COD over there, which will help us with computing over data itself. So that's a really interesting use case of how we can combine the two together. And then, yeah, that leaves for a lot of room for ideation. And for retrieval markets specifically, Saturn, Station, these are L2 commitments that we could really build out. So we look forward to how we're going to get that going. OK, in terms of just kind of getting you going on how you can think about the FVM and how it can be applied, I think it's really, really useful to think about how it could optimize and innovate on top of storage and retrieval markets. So if you think of markets as a structure as a whole, what FVM can do is to inject a lot of automation into it. And so these certain mechanisms that can really make things a lot faster and take out a lot of the manual work that needs to be done. So for example, like replication workers, your deals could be automatically repairing. Your deals could also be automatically renewing. And you don't actually have to go in. The users don't have to go in and keep doing that. And so that makes everything run a lot faster. Verification could also be a really good use case, verification of useful data, incentivizing good behavior across clients, SPs, RPs, and node operators as well, getting them to join the network, incentivizing that. These are many, many different ways that you can think about how you can use the FVM literally almost for anything. But yeah, I think what we could do a lot better on is to flesh out these stories a little bit more and what the user stories are going to be like. And I'll share a little bit more later on programs that can enable you to do that. We have a few of them in the room that are presenting as well today, like Magmo and CanLab. So we look forward to having a lot more partners with us. The cool part is that you'll actually be an early builder, so you're actually building the FVM with us and not just building the FVM after it has been completed as a product. So I think that's a really different kind of developer program. So I'll share a little bit of details on how you can join that later on. OK, now we're going to the part about how the FVM works. I think this is probably what can be a really good explanation. If you look at the diagram over here, the FVM is an execution runtime that runs on top of a Filecoin node. It covers a whole lot of different responsibilities in computing, including actor lifecycle management, gas accounting, chain access, cross-contract calls with built-in actors and user-defined actors as well. So just touching on the actor bit, actors are essentially kind of like smart contracts, but it's a little bit different in the Filecoin network. We define it that way because we're very much inspired by the actor model. So it's an easy way to think about how it's a smart contract and don't get too confused. But that's what we'll be referencing in a lot of our docs. Yeah, so FVM itself is built using WASM. WASM is an amazing compiler language. And what we want to be able to do is that users can write their smart contracts in languages that they're comfortable with. So eventually, you could use Python, JavaScript, whatever it is that you prefer. Right now, a lot of it is written in Rust, but eventually, you'll be able to write that, compile with WASM into the FVM. So that's why we've chosen to use that. We have, if you look over here at the two different categories of actors that we have native actors, and so these would be very much written within the FVM itself. It's not a foreign runtime, which I'll touch on a little bit later on. And we'll have two subcategories here. One is built-in actors that will be hard-coded into the network to help, basically, for primitives that will help you to do stuff more easily. And these will be hard-coded in. You can't actually change them. But you can write your user-defined actors, and these can interact with the built-in actors and with the network as a whole. So where you will mostly be working on, with your use cases, especially with L2 commitments, would be around the user-defined WASM actors over here. That is being built out today. And then we come into the foreign actors, which is what we have available for you to test today. We have Filecoin EVM. So the FVM is EVM compatible. What that means is that you could do a seamless deployment. The goal is a seamless deployment using tools that you're comfortable with in Ethereum to deploy to the FVM. So right now we have Hardhat and we have MetaMask working. That is the demo that I'm going to show. And we also have, and you can do it with Remix very easily. There are many more tools that we're building out, like Foundry, Truffle, Brownie, all these things. So over time being really, really soon, excluding Christmas, we'll have all these tools ready for you to start building. Yeah, in the long run, we also hope to support other kinds of smart contracts. So it could be like Solana, it could be Polygon, Solana, and different kinds of contracts that you could use. And I think that's how we'll flesh it out over the next over 2023 itself. Okay, let me touch briefly on the roadmap. And so how the FVM is being, I guess the question you have is, a lot of times we get asked the question, is it launched yet or is it not? It is launched. We are incrementally delivering it. We're delivering it almost on a weekly release. So a lot of things keep changing in the testnet. I'll talk a little bit about testnets later on. But let me run through the roadmap and what very quickly you can expect to come in the coming months. This touches on a huge milestone that we ran just early in July today. So if you think of how fast things are moving, only in July this year did we have the built-in actors released into the mainnet. And so it's already in the mainnet today in I think it's V16 as of now, and V17 is coming right up. So these are really active in the network itself. And that is the exact epoch that it was deployed at. So yeah, great NFT to mint, maybe. And then moving forward, right now we are at the phase of Filecoin EVM. And so as I explained, you can actually test it out today on the Wallaby testnet. Wallaby is a bleeding edge testnet, so a lot of it gets reset as and when, almost every day. You could join the Slack channel to know when it's going to be reset, because sometimes demos that you make get cut off. But it's really good for testing there. We will have a more stable testnet coming up, build a net named TBC, coming up sometime in December. So you could maybe holidays, nothing to do, you want to sit down, test some stuff out. It'll be way more stable. Your code will not disappear overnight. So we'll probably be running a hackathon, so look forward to that. We hope to see some really great use cases of FVM being built out. And the mainnet launch for FVM is estimated around February next year. And then once we're done with FVM, we'll move on to building, scoping out, and then building M2.2, which is around the user-defined actors on FVM. So that will come probably Q2 to mid-year of 2023. And then looking forward, we'll have our protocol improvements, which means scaling up for more foreign runtimes and so on, and optimizing the gas estimations and gas counting and so on. Yeah. This is a really cool chart. I think it is our incremental delivery plan. If you just search it up, do a quick search, you'll come across it. It's in our GitHub. It runs through specifically all the different features that you can see on a weekly release and what the team is aiming for. Again, these are always subject to change, but it should give you a really good indication of what you can expect coming up, especially if you're building alongside with us. Okay, and in the past, I think if you've been on Twitter, you've seen FVM, you follow any of us, we've actually had MetaMask up and running. Now it's a really cool thing. I'm going to show you how it works. Has any of you tested out this MetaMask feature, aside from my team who's raising their hands, because that's not counted? No? OK, cool. So I'm going to show you how to do it. It's really easy. So I've already set it up beforehand, because it does take a while for the testnet faucet to give you funds. And yeah, I don't want to take up too much time here. But you can go to your MetaMask, and you can set up your network name as Wallaby. You can just add a new network. If you've never interacted with Wallaby before, this would be a good starting point. Put in your network name. RPC URL is specifically this URL, as well as the chain ID. And then the currency symbol will be tfil. We have tutorials ready. I'm just going to show this. We actually had a community member write this for us, which was awesome. He's one of our early builders as well. I can probably tweet out links, but you can check this out. It walks through how you can do it, like what I'm going to show you here. And also, it gives you exactly the URL that you need to input. Yep, if not, we're always on Slack, and you can always ask us. So yeah, once you've input that, you can add the network, and then you should have it in your MetaMask. So now you have tfil, yeah, from the faucet. And then once you have that, you can just go to Remix. Oh, so once you add the network as well, you can always go to Glyph. You can go to Glyph Explorer. So these are one of the tools. Glyph has been building out amazing tools for FVM and Filecoin for us. And you'll see what's really cool here is that your ETH address from your account has been translated into a FIL address. And so this is a new F4 address class. I'll talk about it later while my transaction is loading. Still working out some kinks on gas estimation, but that will be much, much faster in the coming weeks. So I'll talk a little bit about this later on, but what's really cool is that you have an F4 address here, and that is how it's translated across into the Filecoin network. And maybe it could be a use case that a block explorer build out next time could have a better UI that will then change it back into the ETH address, so all you ever see is your Ethereum address. So you could technically be deploying an EVM, never really looking at the Filecoin interface, but you would be having all the capabilities of what FVM and the Filecoin network can do. So once it's set up, you can go into Remix. This is a completely new Remix site. I'm just going to do a quick template storage contract. Yep, so you get this going. Compile this. Cool, done. And then make sure that you set your environment as the injected provider MetaMask, because it's going to get weird if you leave it as the Remix VM. And then deploy. Yeah, so you can see over here, everything is running on the testnet itself. It is very quickly translated into FIL. Confirm. Cool, and we should see it pending here. Yep. So while this is pending, I just wanted to show you some of the resources. I didn't actually show this part earlier on because I've already done it prior to this. But what you can do is once you get this address, the F4 address, you'll just copy it, and then you'll paste it into your faucet. And once you press send, you should be getting the funds. It takes about a minute or so to come in. And then you can start experimenting. As I shared, this is one of the tutorials we have. We also have a hard hat kit. So this is using Remix today, but if you want to use hard hat, we actually have a starter kit that my colleague Zach has prepared. So you can always use that and try it out. And if you want a tutorial to go along with it, another community member has also written that out for us. So we'll be tweeting out all these links. And yeah, that should make it much easier for you to try it out, especially if you're new to this. Cool. So let's see if that has been done up. OK, cool. Yep, done. So that is deployed. Wait, was it deployed? OK, I have, yeah. So let me just check that. Try that one more time. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. It is, right. Sorry. OK, so that has already been deployed. And then let's try out store. So let's say you could try out just storing some, I mean, of course, this is super, super simple. And we've also had some teams that are building a lot more complex contracts. And those are working as well. So I think it would be it'll be a pretty good time to start getting on there and building out your smart contracts. So I've already done the store for here, so I'm just going to show it here. You start 100 fill, and then you retrieve it. And yep, there you go. You get 100 response here. So this shows how you could very easily use Remix as of today. MetaMask can be used in many different environments as well, and not just Remix itself. So yeah. Thank you. Cool. I just want to give a big shout out to my team because they built a lot of that and they walked me through the demo. So it's a shout out actually for them and the applause is for them. Yeah. Cool. So right now I will go through use cases. I'm just going to give some ideas on how FVM can work with retrieval networks. So for retrieval markets, you can think of basically incentivizing behavior, incentivizing more node operators to come on board for Saturn. Sponsored retrievals is something that, Patrick suggested. I thought was pretty cool. You could actually have a content publisher put in money directly into the FVM, and then put in funds directly into the FVM. And when the retrieval provider takes it, the payout is automatic. And so that automates a lot of the processes there. Trustless reputation systems, of course, this applies to any provider or any provider out there. So you could actually have much faster verification of the providers that you're working with. Service worker verification is also something that can be automated within a Saturn network with FVMs. And you could also be moving deals into subnets with IPC. And so that will reduce a lot of the cost of retrieval. So these are just some ideas to get going. What we actually need to do is to flesh out these a lot more. So if any of these appeal to you, or you have a team that wants to build them, come build them with us. Write out your user story so that our engineering team knows what to prioritize, especially because retrieval markets is going to be super important in 2023. Okay, and then for retrieval markets and mechanisms, this list is really anything more outside of Saturn as well. You could have retrievability assurance. So those of you that are familiar with on-chain storage or the retrieve.org team, assuring that you get the data that you've asked for, and making sure that the behavior is right there, and having an FVM to ensure that. You could incentivize the retrieval of useful data. So pretty similar to Filecoin Green, but this is more around retrievability than storage. You could have data DAOs using a lot of these retrievals. So I think this one's a really pretty cool use case because you could have members that are more engaged getting sponsored retrievals from the data DAO itself. So that would, and then making sure that you have retrieval providers in there as well that are incentivized to help with the data DAO and then maybe get a token from the DAO itself. Access control is also something that we're building out as a general use case, but I think that's going to come in handy for retrievals, making sure that your data is in the right hands. Time-locked retrievals with DRAND is something that will include FVM as well, so that's going to be really interesting. Edge compute could have FVM manage a whole bunch of lightweight POPs to compute. So more for coordination. And then lastly, state payment channels, which I think Magmo is going to come up and do. So state payment channels is going to be, for those who don't know, you'll be able to take a lot of these transactions off the chain, deal with them, put them back on the chain. And so with FVM coordinating a lot of that, you could actually, I think, really enhance the speed of things. So these are just some ideas. How can you get involved with these ideas with us? So if you're not haven't checked out the FVM developer forum, I'll show the site in a little bit. But that's a really good discussion place, and a lot of the engineering team and our product team are looking at that site and will respond to you really quickly. And we can also have all these collated so that other people can have an exchange of ideas. FVM Slack is somewhere that you can go to if you really need help really quickly. We also have channels for Wallaby itself. We have an amazing maintainer team, and so if you have any issues there or want to know when the network resets, you can definitely join hashtag, I think it's #PhilWallabyDiscuss. And then I'll come on FVM Hack Day on Saturday. We'll be there for the whole day at Hackerbase. It's a really nice space. If you haven't been there yet, the whole team will be there. So we're going to have a few workshops to walk through the FVM use case, but then we're also going to show, I think, a little bit more complex contract deployment. So stay tuned for that. We'll walk you through. And then we'll have one of the new tools, I think one of the block explorers that is pretty new, is going to be shown right there. So you'll be seeing some fresh things at Hack Day itself. We'll have about 4 hours to hack or so, and then we'll have some of our partners come on and showcase their use cases and their demos. So stay tuned for that, as well as a happy hour and a lot of sweat. I talked a little bit about this program. I did want to do a shout out to it. So if you're a partner, or even if you're a labber and you want to build out a new product or project, join our early builders. You can reach out to me, or you can apply at the website here. And we have almost about 90 teams today in the program for this cohort, and all of them are building the EVM to FVM use case. Yeah, if you want to come along, we have weekly check-ins. We'll support you all the way. We have office hours and everything. And then, of course, helping to build visibility for your product once it's really ready as well. So yeah, join the Foundry program. Yep. And I will just really quickly show FVM Hack Day. This is the website. Yeah, if you haven't signed up yet, do sign up. We hope to see you there. It'll be a lot of fun. And this one is going to be really important, our developer forum. We've had so many community members contributing articles, and these will eventually become the docs. So please come contribute to them. Cool. Thank you so much.
Can you write contracts in Rust on testnet?
Yeah, so you can't do that right now. That will come out. You could write in Rust, but that would be for a built-in actor, which the team has already built out. But if you want more of the user-defined actors, that would be next year, probably somewhere mid-year, where you'll be able to start experimenting, writing your own user-defined contracts. Yeah. So right now, a lot of it is written in Solidity.
Just wanted to add to that and say that not a lot of people know, this is not common knowledge, but the Wallaby testnet does support native actors written in Rust, assembly script, Go. These are the 3 SDKs that are available right now. The Rust SDK is probably the most mature one. You would compile it down to WASM, and there is a set of RPC methods that you can invoke to deploy the actor. And this is just like for really, really experimental use cases, but we don't you can get started with it. The APIs of the APIs and syscalls are going to change a long time over time. So this is like really early preview. Cool.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, and then also I think we have an assembly script SDK that's ready today. So if you want to try that out, high-level Rust and tiny Go, I think is what we have. Yeah, but again, those are highly experimental, so we generally don't say you can try it, but we can support you in that. Yeah.